Hi guys, welcome back to Eight-Legged Babes. Today I want to introduce you to Molly, another one of my jumping spiders, and the mom of the babies you met in the last video. She is a Phidippus johnsoni, or a Johnson's jumping spider, and her species is native to Southern California and down into Mexico. Now what I want to do today is give her a bit of an enclosure update. I've had her about 6 months and she was a mature female when I bought her, which means that she's starting to get pretty old in terms of jumping spider age. And on top of that, I've also noticed that she's really starting to slow down. There's a couple of signs you can look for in your pet jumping spiders to help you better understand if they're starting to get older and what you can do to help support them. So some aging signs to look for in your jumping spiders are really how much are they moving and how easily are they moving. Jumping spiders are a variety of species that are extremely energetic. They spend their days moving around and hunting, which is very different from some of the cobweb spiders who really spend their days in their web. And because of that, what you can look for in an older jumping spider is, are they staying in the same place every day? Do they have a hammock that they've webbed or a hide you've provided that they really just like staying in and hanging out during the day? A second signal to look out for is how are they gripping? As they age, jumping spiders aren't molting anymore. And because of that, their feet are not gripping as well. They aren't turning over those cells anymore. So on the sides of their enclosure, you'll notice older jumping spiders slide a lot more and are much more prone to falls. Because of that, you want to make some adjustments to their enclosure that can make them a bit more comfortable, help them move around easier, and limit their risk of getting hurt from falling. So join me today as I give Molly's enclosure a bit of a facelift and also pull her out to give her a bit of a treat in the meantime. So first thing we have to do is get Molly set up in a safe enclosure with a little snack while we do our makeover. So here she is hanging out on one of her hides. This has been her recent favorite hide, so I went ahead and just pulled it out with her, and it made pulling her out of her enclosure a lot easier, and I was able to get some sweet close-ups of her little red stripes on her bum. She is most likely wild-caught and is a little bit older, so she is a bit skittish, and I try to be very slow and careful with her while I'm moving. So first things first, we have to pull quite a few things out of her enclosure. This is her waterer, which is really handy for whenever I need to go out of town and make sure she doesn't dehydrate. We'll also be pulling out her leaf litter as well as her feeding cup. This is really handy for when I want to leave mealworms in there that she's not necessarily interested in right away, but it lets her hunt on her own. I'll also be pulling out her little mesh net, which is actually one of the first things I added to kind of help her as she got older. This is her mushroom hide with her web hammock in it. She uses it from time to time, but not as much as she used to, but we'll keep the web in it just for her. We'll pull out some of her little steps, including this little acorn top, which I love, and I try to get as much natural features into her enclosure as possible. Also pull out sticks and her cork bark and her little mushroom ledge. That one's a little bit dirty and the magnet is kind of destroyed on it, so I'll actually be replacing that in this video. Really, I want to pull everything out that isn't substrate or leaf litter that's so small that it's mixed up in the substrate. So next, I'm actually going to be getting some pieces of burlap ribbon that I hot glued together, attached to the insides of her enclosure. This will give her a little bit more to grip onto and will help her from falling, which is something that I've been noticing more often with her. I'm going to be attaching these with magnets. This is one option. Some people use magnets, some people use hot glue guns. It's really whatever works best for the hobbyist. This just tends to work best for me because I more often than not need to get into an enclosure and get to a spider, and things that are glued down kind of make that difficult. And you'll see here I'm kind of starting to move stuff back in and get the burlap ribbon secured. And this gives me a chance to start designing the layout and moving stuff back in. But in the meantime, I think we should maybe check in and see how Molly is doing with her snack. So now I'm just starting to get things moved back in with the burlap in place. I can really start putting things back the way they were. I don't want to change her enclosure too much. I want it to stay pretty much familiar for her so it's less stressful. I also, and I mentioned this before, I try to keep my spiders' enclosures as natural as possible. And again, Johnson's jumping spiders are a West Coast, specifically like Southwest Coast spider. They're used to drier climates, they're used to oak forests, they're used to a lot of underbrush that they can hide under. So you'll see me putting a lot more sphagnum moss back in, and you'll see after this I put a lot of her oak leaves back in. This is to mimic that natural environment and give her a lot of hiding places. And also the extra moss, which I added even more in than there was before, gives her a soft landing in case she does still fall. It's really all about making it as natural as possible and as safe as possible for her so she feels secure and can't get easily injured. You'll see I'm kind of using one of her oak sticks to secure her burlap little bridge there just to make it a little bit safer. And there you have it. It's pretty much all the way back together. Now it's time to get Molly moved back in, and hopefully she can bring her snack with her. That's going to do it for us today, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more spider content coming up. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye.